Nations rise and fall, empires appear and disappear, but Persia is one of the few civilizations in human history that's experienced every possible chapter. From the Achaemenid dynasty to the modern revolutionary Iran, its cyclical transitions are an indelible mark in the human subconsciousness. Not only is it the world's first superpower, it's a civilizational basin. Thousands of years of sacred traditions, philosophical inquiry, poetry, and political experience. While many ancient nations live in the textbooks, Persia is alive and well today. And on the other corner, we have the mercenaries of the Epstein class who just lost a war against dudes with homemade AKs and sandals. Just kidding. Okay, just kidding. In all seriousness, we have to analyze the conflict that we're currently in on a civilizational basis. This is not an ordinary war. We can sit here and discuss the tactical operations and the equipment, but this conflict is way greater than that, and I think we all know it. On one hand, you have the United States and her allies, who represent the global, liberal, materialistic order that occupies the spiritual realm of a dying nation. And on the other hand, we have the Perennial Farsi, who represents globe's resistance to international materialism and an adherence to a multipolar world order. Iran makes for an easy opponent because they're the original bad guys. In many Western classrooms and American ones, we have the history, of the white people. It starts with the European history, right? Where the white Greeks fought against the bad brown Persians. The Greeks are these liberty warriors who were trying to preserve their own independence against this Persian menace, right? Whereas in reality, most Greeks were happy to live under Persian rule. A lot of them fought on their side, and a lot of them were like, take us, like, we're happy to be Persian. And displaying the sadistically tyrannical Spartans as some sort of liberating heroic peoples is crazy. This is insane. Like, every guy was forced to be a slave soldier. And if you weren't from, the city of Sparta, you were a slave to a slave soldier. You randomly got killed at, whenever they wanted you to die. Anyways, we're not supposed to believe that this hypocrisy doesn't exist today. And that the Iranians are tyrants. And there is white good people that are trying to defend the rest of us against this evil Muslim browns. Because, the United States and the Zionist regime, these are the good guys. These are the good guys who are trying to keep all of us free, whatever the hell that means. We're all free due to them, and these other guys are trying to take our freedoms away. Okay? And so it's like the story has never changed. So anyways, here's a list of wars Persia fought before the first pilgrim landed in the continental United States. Wars of unification for Cyrus the Great, the Greco-Persian Wars, wars against Egypt and Scythia, wars against Alexander the Great, Seleucid and Parthian Wars, Parthian and Roman Wars, Roman Sasanian and Byzantine Sasanian Wars, Sasanian Kushan Wars, Persian Aksumite Wars, the Byzantine Sasanian Wars, the Muslim conquest of Persia, which is what the historians say. Why don't you guys say the Arab-Byzantine conflicts? When it's Muslims, it's conquest. The Arab-Muslim Wars of Persia, Persian-Turkic Wars, Mongol invasions, Timurid conquest, Ottoman-Safavid Wars, Safavid-Uzbek Wars, Safavid-Mughal Wars, Persian-Portuguese War. After the Portuguese War, that's when the first pilgrim came to continental United States. Funny story, actually. The Persian-Portuguese War ended up with the Persians kicking the Portuguese out of the Strait of Hormuz. Just saying. I'm highlighting here that no matter how many Desalination plants are bombed. Oil and gas pipes assaulted. The Persian spirit is no stranger to war. Combine that with the Shiite martyr and struggle mentality, you have a formidable opponent. The Shiite spirit is encoded in the tragic story of Hassan and Hussein, the grandchildren of the Prophet Muhammad. After starving and being on the verge of death due to thirst, they get lured into a trap by their enemies, who lead them to a water source, and they promptly slay them all and their kin. Persian kids learn about the story before their A, B, and C's. Yeah, they're not going to surrender to bombs. With that out of the way, it's important to highlight the shortcomings of the Iranian survival strategy, which is the defection trap. One of the reasons why this culture has lived for so long is due to its ability to kind of be a chameleon nation. What I mean by this is that the Iranian culture adopts and borrows from foreign cultures, and it adds onto its multinational melting pot. And I like for you to imagine that to be like lamb shack and ash and like fucking sebze ash and all their good food and maybe saffron rice in there somewhere. It's like but the point is that the culture is like a fly trap. It's like it almost makes other countries like be attracted to it, come to it, and then it takes that culture and makes it Persian. Persia has always had a significant portion of its people sympathize with their enemy. Do you guys remember that golem-looking leper who tried to be with the Spartans in the 300? Like, that is a common theme in their history. When Alexander came to Persia to invade it, Darius, some of the generals under Darius, and the minorities within the Persian army were the ones who retreated first from the battle in Gaugamela. These defectors then helped Alexander navigate Persia and helped him conquer the rest of Persia. During the centuries that Persia fought Rome, they always had some crown prince, some governors of some province, always some satrap of some province, always defect to Rome. Like, they always have some prince that's taken advantage of a fragmented Persia to then come to Rome and be like, yo, help me get Rome. This is like the entire history of their war with Persia. Then when the Arab-Persian wars happened during the time of the Prophet Muhammad and his companions, Salman Farisi actually educated the Muslims and helped them conquer Persia. And Yazdigerd, who was the Persian emperor at the time, most of his entourage converted to Islam and gave him away. Turks conquered Persia by literally fighting for them against the Byzantines, and then just one crown prince and after another using the Turks to then doing a coup to take over Iran, but the Turks just coup them. But the weird thing about it is that all of these guys who came in as invaders ended up becoming Persians. This is the reason why I'm saying Iran will not lose. It never loses. It loses the war on paper, and it loses its regime and the government style changes, but the culture, it takes over. It's almost like Persian culture is oil to whatever liquid it comes into contact with. It just comes out on top. So those Turks who conquered Persia eventually became the Safavids, who were just Iranic Turks, who then became so pro-Iran that they ended up fighting other Turks, like in the form of the Ottoman Empire, who they deemed to be less civilized and Persian than them. Parthians, who took over before, just became Sasanians. And the Greeks who took over with Alexander became the Seleucids. These people all just become Persian at one time or another. Even in the context of Islam, and I made a video on this with the Sunni and Shia debate, Shia Islam is only relevant due to Iran. And the culture shaped the religion in a major way. This is why Iran will never lose. Even if tomorrow the regime is overtaken, the revolution happened in the first place because the Pahlavi dynasty was a puppet controlled by a British oil tycoon. the CIA was also coming in, so it was just a Western puppet. So the people decided to create a revolution to kick these puppet masters out. They bankrupted the country at the time in the most dystopian way. They literally threw the biggest party the world has ever seen, the most expensive, the biggest load of BS I've ever seen in my life. Whereas the people did not have access to clean water. They were throwing the largest party the world has ever seen. Again, that regime at the time, the Polyvist regime, was also guilty of the mistakes that the current regime is accused of. They were abusing human rights. They were spying on people. They were torturing people just the same as the Iranian regime is guilty of doing today. The only difference, it was still Persian. The only difference is the government type wasn't Shiite extremism. It was a weird neo-monarchist extremism that was backed by a British nationalist Persian royalty. This flexible nature of the Persian people always shaping governments and invaders to itself is why I'm not concerned about them winning or not. Or if, like, no one can win. Even if the Mullah regime falls today, it's just gonna change. It's just gonna change its colors again, and the system will just adapt itself. Like, the Persia will never lose, bro. They just changed the game, basically. It's like, it's weird, dude. Like, let's say the US, the Zionist regime, and the diaspora behind it come in and they change the government. What's going to happen next? It's just going to create a gateway for another revolution, another government change, another problem. It's not going to solve anything. You don't solve problems in Persia by invading it. You just let it kill itself. Which is what seemed to be happening in the first place, if I'm not mistaken. You had wide protests against the regime, and it looked like most people were against it, at least from my perspective. I'm not sure. I don't know anything. But I don't think you can make that happen by just killing their spiritual and religious leader overnight while trying to negotiate with him at the same time. And listen, I am not here to be political. I'm not taking any sides. But all I'm trying to say is that, we need to think about these things. And I'm no sympathizer to the current government in Iran. First of all, if you're an Arab from Hijaz or you live in a Zionist state, you probably have some concerns with Iran. I mean, they are supporting proxies around the Middle East, causing conflict and mayhem. This is true. I mean, they had Assad as a proxy. He was literally Sacha Baron Cohen from that movie Dictator. And also the so-called Islamic Republic being the epicenter of heroin distribution in the wider world is something that we have to talk about. But whatever that the case might be, I just think that's not the American taxpayer's problem. Again, I'm not political here. I'm looking at it through a perennial civilizational scenario. I am pro-Iranian people. I'm pro-Iranian culture. I think their lives matter. I don't think that their culture is something to be toyed with. I think that it's a beautiful culture, and it's not just this enemy that Americans are responsible to sedate. As a person who dissents from the region, let me tell you this. They are the most docile people in the Middle East. Arabs are a fiery bunch. Turks are fucking Persians are poets, bro. It's a nation of bureaucrats, musicians, and poets, like a high IQ nation with witty people. They love life. They are very artistic. It's a docile people. I'm telling you this, they are one of the least likely nations out there, who would ever use a nuclear bomb. And I don't have a scientific study to prove that to you. It's just life experience. You just get to know enough Persian, you just know it's not something they would do. And also, it doesn't help that their spiritual leader, who put out a religious decree against nuclear bombs, just got killed, I mean, it doesn't help deterring a nuclear case, I think. And also America. The United States, out of every country in the world, policing others on nuclear bombs is insane. Bro dropped 2 on one nation and just whistled off. So let's chill with that rhetoric. I think we all know why this war is happening, and it's not in America's interest. To defeat your enemy, you must first know your enemy, and I'm certain Trump knows nothing about the Persian civilization. This is not a culture like the American culture. This is a perennial civilization. One poem from Rumi is a stronger weapon of peace than any Zionist bomb. Thank you for watching the video, and hold out fast.